here so I won't get fined.
We talking about practice.
Come see me. I'm about that.
Welcome back to I Am Athlete today. Daily, but we're going to cross out daily and say tonight I'm joined by Hollywood. We got Mike Sims Walker virtual. He's in his second living room. There go Hollywood. Then we got Mike Sims Walker. He has two living rooms. And then we also have Brian, our executive producer. Guys, how are you guys doing on this evening?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I got me around the golfing earlier. Kids spring break, so did a little daddy time with them, but we good.
Okay, so this is I Am Athlete Daily presented by Vivid Seats. Make sure you download the Vivid Seats app. Then also Vivid Picks. If you want to get into the game during NBA season, you're more than welcome to do that. Mike, you talked about a round of golf. What was your score?
I didn't keep score. I ain't got that good yet, man. No pro.
So is it even a round of golf if you?
Yeah, man, you got to keep.
That's
score.
why I asked the question.
Yeah.
You got to keep the score.
Nah.
Did you have a couple drinks? Who'd you play with? Where are you going golfing for if you're not keeping score?
We ain't really competing. We just going out there to hit the ball, have a little fun.
You can do that in the backyard.
We did do a little gamble on all par threes, closest to the pin.
There you go. Okay, I like that. Did you win any of the holes?
No, I did not.
Dang, Mike. Dang, Mike. All right, here we go. So listen, guys, it is Tuesday, 9 p.m. This is I Am Athlete tonight, just for tonight, and yesterday as well. Brian, free agency still hasn't opened up. The new league year still hasn't opened up. Mike Sims Walker, did you know that? Because it feels like free agency has come and gone, right?
It does. No, it's open on what? The 16th, I think, right?
Tomorrow, 4 p.m., guys. Tomorrow, 4 p.m.
Tomorrow? Okay. I'm wrong there. Yeah, I knew it wasn't open yet, though.
I feel like all the deals have been announced, been done. So there's some that, are still lingering out there, but there's a lot to cover. There's some talk about some basketball talk here we also have Jerry Jones in the mix. And then we have Dayball and the Giants. They're saying, Brian, that a lot of free agents are staying away from the Giants because of this general manager. But before we jump into that, let's get in some Dallas Cowboys talk.
All right, let's start with the NFC East. All right, the
100%.
Cowboys are always under the microscope. So during free agency, but once again, Jerry has failed to impress. I'm sure Dallas had running back Javonte Williams and reached a deal with return of Gavontae Turpin, but no big splash. So in fact, Jerry hasn't signed a free agent for more than $6 million per year since 2015. Yes, 10 years ago. So Brandon, we all know Micah still has to get paid, so I'm sure Jerry's saving some money for him. But what needs to be said about Jerry and the boys right now not spending any money in free agency?
Jerry needs to change course, right? There's two ways you can go as an owner, as a general manager, two philosophies here. We're going to build within a draft, or we're going to really embrace free agency. Your numbers show that Jerry Jones has not embraced free agency. That is ridiculous when you have backup quarterbacks making $6 million a year. Mike, for Jerry Jones not to sign not one guy over $6 million over the last 10 years says his philosophy and his approach, right? Let's build within. Now, it worked until it didn't. The year that it imploded and they should have shifted was when Dak Prescott broke his leg. Remember when Dak Prescott went down, had that terrible leg injury?
Yep.
It was about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Bro, Dak Prescott in that offense was averaging 500 yards a game, right? Defense was doing okay, but they are right where they need to be. The Dallas Cowboys and that philosophy hasn't panned out, and it's time for Jerry Jones to open up the bag. He got it. It's the Dallas Cowboys. So, yeah, man, to see these numbers and these reports come out says a lot. I don't know what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. It's like they're just embracing mediocrity, right? Like, y'all don't want to make a move in free agency, and y'all really ain't doing nothing in the draft. So I don't know what's going on in Dallas, bro.
I think at this point, Jerry just in the showbiz. I don't think Jerry really trying to win, right? Because we all know free agency is where you make the biggest moves and adjustments for your football team. That's where you can address your real needs. Not really so much the draft, because you still can't rely on rookies, bro. Like, we all know that. I mean, potentially, yes, they have a lot of potential, but majority of the time, when you're trying to address real bad needs on your football team, you do it in free agency. And at this point, Jerry still hasn't done it. I don't know why he keep trying to keep it in-house. Like he just making all these great draft picks, and he trying to re-sign these guys, and that's not the case. All right, so at this point, I think Jerry just in it for the showbiz, man. I don't think he really trying to win the football games.
So this is I Am Athlete tonight, presented by Vivid Seats. Brandon Marshall here, Hollywood in the booth, and we also have Mike Sims Walker and Brian also chiming in, who's not on video, just you can hear his audio. Free agency hasn't started yet, but it feels like it's done. So many deals. Yesterday I talked about this being the stories, Brian. So many cool stories, guys getting traded, quarterbacks moving and getting bags elsewhere, big trades. It's unbelievable. So, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys once again hasn't done anything over the last couple years to catch up to the Philadelphia Eagles or, hell, even the Commanders now. I'll probably say they're probably last in that division now. The New York Giants is doing more, and they can't even get a guy. They can't even get a guy to come visit them in free agency because of this general manager.
To push the conversation forward here is like, if you're a star like Dak or CeeDee, I mean, do you want to stay with Dallas, or are you starting to think maybe I need to go ahead and get up out of here?
I mean, after this free agency, bro,
in the league, go ahead.
After this free agency right here, bro, if you ain't signed making no big splash at another receiver or a running back or a tight end at this point, I think it's starting to question, like, Jerry Jones' real, like, desire to win.
Motives?
Yeah, like his motive. Like, what are we doing? Like, at this point, bro, that CeeDee already came out and said he can't do it by himself. Dak don't even need to say it. I know we waiting on Micah Parsons to get paid, and I know Myles Garrett just really changed the market for that, right? So I don't know if that's the reason, but at this point, I don't know what his motive is, bro. Like, free agency is where you really address your team needs. Like, everybody knows that. If you know football, you know that. You don't wait until the draft. The draft is just extra credit. That's where the potential come in at. But free agency is where you make these splashes. And you see guys are being active right now. Look at Pittsburgh. All right, they just traded and then re-signed the receiver. I can't even think of his name right now. I'm going blank. DK Metcalf.
Metcalf, yeah.
He wasn't even a free agent, bro. So guys are being active and aggressive right now, and Dallas just sitting there twiddling their thumbs like they got time. They ain't got time. Jerry just trying to worry about
it's a philosophy that
Jerry trying to worry about them.
It's all about the
field getting filled up more than Dak winning the Super Bowl.
No, I think it's all about philosophy, right? Like, sometimes you can get stuck. Sometimes you can be a year or two too late. A lot of people are questioning the San Francisco 49ers right now. You see how they're unloading everybody. What that should be telling us, and what we should be thinking is, they realize that their window has shut, right? It's done. It's over. So why are you going to try to hold on to all these veteran players, paying them all this money, when you can just literally just reboot and go in the draft or go get the guys that you need in free agency that could be more friendly? Like, they brought in Bosa, right? I can't wait to see how those two brothers play together on the opposite ends of the side of each other, excuse me. But this is the Dallas Cowboys right now. They're 2 to 3 years late in understanding that their window has closed, and they have to make some major moves when it comes to not the draft, not free agency, but their philosophy, Brian.
Definitely. So let's go from one of the popular teams in the NFL to another popular team in the NFL. The most restless fan base in America right now has to be in Pittsburgh. You know, quarterbacks are dropping off the market left and right, but the Steelers still have no QB1 signed right now. Daniel Jones is going to Indianapolis, so even if that was an option, he's out. So, B, I know this is your team. Now that Russ and Rodgers are getting more and more leverage by the day, should fans start to panic about this quarterback situation in Pittsburgh?
Ooh, absolutely not. I think if anybody should be panicking, it should be the guy who's cutting a check in Pittsburgh, right? Like, that's all this is. We know who the guy is, Mike. All this talk, Justin Fields this, Justin Fields that. Russell Wilson was the guy, is going to be the guy, and he always was the guy. You know what I'm saying? You over here talking like you the general manager. How many years experience do you have at general manager, Mike? How many years have you coached in the NFL, Mike? So now you know more than Mike Tomlin. You know more than them people in Pittsburgh, Mike. You can do it better than them.
I know.
Okay, this is validation for me that the Pittsburgh Steelers always knew who their quarterback was. No, they gonna win now. You see, they went and got DK Metcalf. They got two. They call them the crash out. These videos is crazy. Internet's going crazy. They said they got two of the NFL's best crash outs we've ever seen. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to watch. The Pittsburgh Steelers is right where they need to be. I'm not tripping. This is one of those moments in conversation you just got to sit back and watch. Watch what happens. This is going to be year 2 for Russell Wilson, Mike, in the same system. And he's not even signed yet, and I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen. You want a quarterback to come in and produce at a high level right away? That's not going to happen. When you're a veteran quarterback that had so much success, the success that Russell Wilson had, you usually come in with your playbook. Now he had to come in and learn this whatever this offensive coordinator's name is. He had to learn his playbook. Russell Wilson's now saying, okay, year 2, now let's figure this thing out. Yes, Mike Sims Walker.
Hey B, I'm just curious, bro. I'm just trying to figure out at what point you and Sierra at in finding you a girlfriend. Like, has she put you on a date yet or something? Like, where y'all at in the process right now? We can get past the Russell Wilson. All right. Okay. Just keep telling the chat where we at.
I ain't gonna hold you. Hey, Mike, I ain't gonna hold you. Listen, I ain't gonna hold you. Look, I went to the Sierra concert in L.A. It was Missy Elliott, Sierra, and Busta Rhymes. This was in July or August. I took the kids July. And then afterwards, there was a little birdie, right? Because I went backstage, did all that, went in the dressing room. Everybody's back there, family and friends. And little birdie said, there was a few C fans and friends that was like, ooh, who's he? Who's he? You know what I'm saying? Who's he?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I was in position.
Yeah.
I was in position, but she know I'm on my journey.
She ain't throw you the lob yet?
She ain't set me up on no date yet.
Okay, so you still that's
Russ one time mentioned somebody, and I was like, nah, I'm straight. He mentioned somebody, and I was like, no, I'm cool.
You ain't approved.
Mike, this one is for you here, right? Like, your guy, Joe Milton, was trending on social media today because fans were saying that the Steelers should trade for the Pats' backup quarterback. Goodness. What do you think about that?
I think Joe Milton is a great young quarterback. If you watched him at Tennessee in the SEC, he played very well this senior. Threw for over 2,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, and only 5 picks. The kid is a dual-threat quarterback, big kid, 6'5", like 245. Solid, and he's from Orlando, Florida, so that automatically, you know what I mean, give him that edge. I think that's a great backup because we all know 6-5, you're gonna get tired of that, and you ain't got Justin Fields no more. So when you go 6-5 this time, you're gonna need somebody that can give you a spark, and I think Joe Milton can give you that spark like he did the last game in New England.
Yeah.
He said the last game of New England. Go ahead, Brian. I'm not even going to get into it with this boy right now. Now that's what we're doing. We are looking at a body of work to determine if this guy can lead the franchise is one game. Milton, the last game. He went. Who did they play?
Russ and Sierra, could y'all please hurry up, bro, so I can get my brother back. Please. Please.
Bro, this is crazy. It ain't even about Russell at this point. This is crazy. You just talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers should go and trade for Joe Milton, right? Why? Because
sure.
he balled out his last game. That's what we talking about. He balled out his last
only game
the
he
team
played.
they played against, they probably had everybody was already packed up. Cars shipped out. They had the flights booked to Cancun. Cancun on 3. That's who they played against. They played against a team that was already in Cancun.
In my opinion, Joe Milton might be better than Drake May, and they got drafted in the same class. Like, it ain't no slouch. That ain't no slouch. Drake May was just in a terrible conference, and they threw the ball every single snap. I watched Joe Milton beat Bama up.
He can sling the football.
Bama.
For sure.
Bro, that's crazy. We talking about college football. But the NFL is totally different. You get to the NFL, you got to show me. Show me. Show me what you got. Not one game, not 2 games. I want to see a couple seasons. How many guys came in, played a couple games, good, well, or a great job, and then flamed out. Or even had a great season, and then the second year, flamed out. I want to see it.
And
the Pittsburgh Steelers right where they need to be, Hollywood and Brian.
I knew it.
We ain't gonna talk
Christy,
about
I see you in the chat. Christy, I see you in the chat right now. Yeah, you missed last night, but it's all good. A little pop-up. Wanted to try a 9 p.m. I Am Athlete. And so here we are. Christy O, do you feel good about where the Patriots are? Please jump in the chat and let us know. We'll respond later. But we're going to push forward because there's a lot going on in sports right now. It's actually heating up. We just left the worst season, the worst time of the year in all of sports, right? Right after the Super Bowl, there's not much to talk about. In the NBA, they're still in preseason, it feels like, Hollywood. That's what it feels like to me. But let me tell you something, Mike, and I think I might be getting off topic here, but there's some things going on in the NBA. KD, you got Steph Curry, you got the Lakers and Luka, you got the Denver Nuggets. Like, there's some stories to follow. It's starting to get interesting in the NBA, but we need it more. It need to be consistent. That's what we need.
Love it. Brian, what we got?
All right, guys, let's move on to the Giants. They are another team under the spotlight after the team decided to keep GM Joe Shane and coach Brian Daboll despite 2 awful last 2 seasons. New York has made a number of moves during free agency, but former Giant Amani Toomer says some players are avoiding the Giants completely because they believe it is a, quote, sinking ship. B, if you were a free agent right now, would you want to play for the Giants?
Yeah, the answer is yes if the money's good. First off, I like Brian Daboll. If you put a player in the room with Brian Daboll, I think he'll convince them that they're on the right track, or he's going to turn it around, excuse me. So I love Brian Daboll, and he's pictured right behind me in the studio. But, Mike, I don't know about you. When I was in the league and I was going through transitions, whether it was via trade or a free agency, bro, it was where the bag was. The one time I tried to be strategic and make the right decision like LeBron did. Remember LeBron, the decision. Where's LeBron going to take his talents, right? And it was very thoughtful. He went through a whole process. That's what I did when I was leaving the Jets. I said, I need to get out of New York. But I end up staying in New York because everything that I wanted and I listed on paper, the Giants checked the box. I wanted to go to a team that had a championship quarterback. I wanted to go to a team, Mike Sims Walker, that had a championship ownership, stability there, stability in management, and also a really good defense. And a year before, the Giants had top 5 defense. And I went there and we imploded. So that was the one time that over 13 years, I was like, let me be strategic about this. But I would say 90% of the time, Brian, pro athletes going through free agency, they're trying to get the biggest bag. That's what they're doing. If you throw them the bag, that's where they're going.
It depends on what an athlete's at in his career. Now, I can understand where Brandon's coming from because he's never made the playoffs, so winning wasn't really a big thing for him, right? But if any guy who want to win,
late night cheap shots, Mike. Late night cheap shots.
Yeah. He's never.
Bro, you made the playoffs one time. Let me Google fact checker. Can y'all Google how many times Mike Sims Walker made the playoffs?
I can understand why he would say that would be his answer. But all I know is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, right? And no way if Dayball and Sheen is under the helm, you can expect to win as a New York Giant, bro. They just not making the moves. Like, they just signed Darius Slayton to like 3 years, $36 million, and then signed Saquon to 3 years, $32 million. Like, what are we talking about? Like, and you still finna believe in these guys? Like, you still finna want to go sign with the New York Giants, knowing you're not finna win, knowing you don't even have the pieces to win. It's just the market. I understand. Brandon love New York. I think he want to retire there. He always said all the time. So I get his answer, right? And he don't care about winning. But I think a guy who's really passionate about winning, they would not go to New York.
Hey, I know what we talking about, Mike. Your rookie year was 2007. Yeah, and that was the first and last time you made the playoffs. Get your ass out here. You talking about flat. He made to the playoffs one time.
Guys, let's get some quick picks presented by.
Oh, you want to now? You want to change the topic? Talking about quick picks? No, we gonna stay right here for a couple more seconds.
Let's stay here. How you play 13 years and don't make it? Though you didn't get lucky. You couldn't get lucky one time, bro. The ball couldn't roll in your favor now.
Bro, you know how painful that is? Do you know how painful that is? Like, man, I can remember those moments being in a in situation. Winning in situations is last game of the season. All you got to do is win. You control your own destiny. So many times gutted by the Green Bay Packers. Brett Favre throws a bomb in overtime to Greg Jennings. Game over, right? Being in Denver playing against the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco 49ers sitting with 7 wins, not even a winning season. And they beat us in Denver, Mile High. Being in Chicago, Aaron Rodgers throws it to Randall Cobb. Last play of the game, Julius Peppers runs free on the right side. Hall of Famer. Bro, I remember just laying on the field, freezing cold. This ground is so cold. I'm just laying there like, another year, not going to the playoffs. Brutal. I think that's the only thing that keeps me up at night when I think about my football career. Hollywood is the playoffs, right? Like, that's all I wanted was an opportunity to take my talents in the playoffs, because that's where you can separate yourself. That's where you go on those legendary runs. Yeah, I feel like, Mike, it wouldn't even be a conversation if I had some playoff games as far as like Hall of Fame. And I never really talk about this, but you got me here. Like, if I actually had some big moments in the playoffs, bro, it wouldn't even be a conversation. But 13 years never in the playoffs, that's crazy. That's crazy. I did my job though. I can't sleep. I can't feel good about that. I worked hard in the off season. I did my thing, and every year I produced at an extremely high level. It wasn't me. But
I agree.
Speaking of legendary runs, okay.
You talk about receivers in your era. You talk about receivers in your era. You talk about Hall of Fame. You talking about Larry Fitzgerald, Andre Johnson. Larry Fitz had a hell of a playoff run that year, and then Andre had a few good playoff runs when he had Matt Schaub at quarterback. And wow, there's no Brandon in the postseason.
Oh my goodness. Okay, are y'all good? Y'all good?
We
This
good.
beef is over now? We squashed it? Okay, perfect. All right, guys, let's get some quick picks presented by Vivid Picks. Which quarterback do Shane and Dayball need to save their jobs?
Cam Ward?
I agree, Brian. Cam Ward.
They can't go wrong with Cam Ward. They can't go wrong with Cam Ward, Mike, or Shador. But I do like them, the pairing of one of them with Aaron Rodgers. You was on the show last night, and that's what I put out there, right? You put Aaron Rodgers in there because it's a gotta-have-it moment for them. You know, can you really bank on Cam Ward? Do you have time to bank on a Cam Ward or Shador? It's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. So for me, I'm going to bring in Aaron Rodgers, and I'm drafting any quarterback that's available, right? And there's talks that they're going to move up in the draft to get their guy.
I'm not going to get Aaron Rodgers at all. If anything, I'll go get Aaron Rodgers to be a backup, to be a mentor to Cam Ward. Aaron Rodgers is very declined in the past couple of years. It's apparent. He had all the perfect pieces around him in the Jets, and it didn't pan out. And whatever y'all want to blame, he had Devontae Adams, he had Garrett Wilson, he had Breece Hall at running back. He had a very decent tight end, and they couldn't get it done with a great defense. All right, so Aaron Rodgers is not the answer. Cam Ward is definitely the answer. I think Aaron Rodgers should go in mentorship mode, big brother mode, uncle mode, whatever mode you want to call it, and be a backup or just around helping these young guys.
Mike, what do you think about the injuries, though? Because you said he had all the pieces, right? Remember, it was, 3-4 plays into opening night, Monday Night Football. Runs out September 11th, I believe it was, with the American flag. And the national anthem was sung, whatever word we're supposed to use there. And then a couple plays into the game, Aaron Rodgers goes down. I mean, if you were there in the stadium, it went silent. It was the quietest New York, New Jersey has ever been. The quietest, right? So his Achilles gone. So you're a guy that had 8 knee surgeries. You don't think that, that bounce back year, he still ain't there. You can see him. But maybe this year he has a little bit more time to rest, to recover, to rehab, to strengthen. He could potentially get back to the Aaron Rodgers we know that could lead a franchise to the playoffs.
No, I don't think so. For one, he had an Achilles injury. All right, there's no shoulder problem like Peyton had or a neck problem where, it's weakening his arm strength or anything like that. That wasn't an issue. He had Achilles injuries. Those are probably one of the easiest injuries you come back from. Aaron Rodgers was trying to come back if they made the playoffs during the season last year, but they didn't, so he shut it down. Do you remember that? All right, so I'm not going to give him no grace.
That don't mean you're 100%, though.
He's a 20-year vet. He don't need a bounce-back season. This guy is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in our life. All right, at year 20, he don't need a bounce-back season. He just needed to stay healthy, which he did, and he didn't prove it, bro. He didn't prove it, point blank, period.
Okay.
B, what else we got?
All right. So this is I Am Athlete Tonight, presented by Vivid Seats. I know you guys like talking about receivers, so let's talk about maybe the best one in the game right now. Ja'Marr Chase still does not have a new deal in Cincinnati, but is clearly watching what is going on in free agency. Chase posted this on IG, Andrew and Reese, I don't know if we have it, and it read, "Know your worth, then add tax." So B, there are critics of the Bengals who are wondering why deals for Chase, Higgins, Hendrickson weren't done earlier, quite frankly. Yet last year, the year before it. So if you're Joe Burrow or Ja'Marr Chase right now, are you starting to wonder whether Cincinnati is where you want to be long term?
No, I'm not wondering anymore. I know. It's time to get up out of there. Cincinnati has to be the dumbest organization in the NFL. And I can't even say that respectfully, Mike. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? You guys was at the bottom of the barrel for a very long time, and then you, boom, you strike. Lightning in a bottle, right? Find gold in Joe Burrow. And also go get his guy that he played with in college, in Ja'Marr Chase. And just like that, y'all turn around the franchise? Coach Payton, Sean Payton, told me this Super Bowl 50. He said, Brandon, every year there's only like 4 to 5 teams that actually have a chance. Everybody else, they mess it up. He said there's like 4 or 5 teams that never have a chance. And then he said everybody else, they mess it up. I said, man, what do you mean by that? They're going to do something dumb. They're not going to pay a guy, or they're going to pay the wrong guy. Like, what are we doing, Cincinnati? You have Joe Burrow. This is the second coming of Joe Montana. And then you got Ja'Marr Chase, the second coming of, give me a top 10 receiver in the history of the league. And just name one. The dude can play ball. Right. And then you got a great wingman and T. Higgins. Like, what are we doing? Are you serious? Y'all deserve for Joe Burrow to ask for a trade next year. Next year, Joe Burrow's going to ask for a trade, and they're going to go back to the bottom of the barrel. They're going to be right there with the Cleveland Browns. Something's happening in Ohio. Mike, what is happening in Ohio?
Yeah,
it's Ohio, Mike. It ain't the Bengals. It ain't the Browns. It's probably Ohio, huh?
Yeah, it might be Ohio. It got to be Ohio at this point because I don't understand. This is one of the craziest things we ever seen right here, for real, in football. Like, bro, how do you have all those pieces and not paying none of them. Bro, I can't even believe I'm still stuck over how you let Joe Mixon walk away. Look what he just did in Houston. we forget about that. You see what Joe Mixon had a hell of a year.
Mike, they did it to save money to go invest in the young boys, and they didn't pay the young boys. That's why they let Joe Mixon go, Mike.
Bro,
think about it. They just say, we don't want to pay him $8 million. It's too much money.
At this point, I'm surprised they didn't pay him last year. I'm talking about Ja'Marr Chase. I definitely wouldn't even be interested. I really would shut the window right now. I wouldn't even be having no more talks about an extension or anything. I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to play there. They already franchised T. Higgins again. That's going to probably be another holdout, or he probably going to wait the training camp. He won't be around. They started slow last year because of because of not paying Ja'Marr Chase, and I think I just see it. It's never going to happen. It's never going to fix. They're never going to fix it. I don't see it. If I was Ja'Marr Chase, I wouldn't want to play for another down in Cincinnati for sure.
Listen, the only thing that gives them hope is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the glue, and he can potentially get this done. But the word is that Joe Burrow's pissed off. He's not happy. And if they don't get it right, because they haven't over the last couple of years in off-season free agency and also the draft, he's going to ask to get out of there. That is the word, right?
And you know what makes
me know Joe Burrow. I don't have any sources, Mike, but that's the only glue there.
But you know what makes it worse?
This is not the one to play with, Mike.
You know what makes it worse for Ja'Marr Chase being in his shoes? They done paid Justin Jefferson already last year. Right? You know they like best friends, bro. So just imagine how that looked, dog. You know what I mean? They battling for who the best receiver in the league is. They both balling, they both eating, and Justin the only one getting his just due. He's the only one that getting paid. This man just won a triple crown. It shouldn't be even a question. He should have been the first one to get extension at this point. The first one in the NFL to get extension.
And Mike, it's costing them more, right? Because they could have had him last year at $33 to $35 million. Now it's going to cost them $40 to $41 million if they pony up what he's asking for. Because last year they put their foot in their mouth and they said Ja'Marr Chase isn't going anywhere, and Ja'Marr Chase will be the highest paid non-quarterback. Now they didn't get that done. They could have got it done last year at 35, 36, right? Now you have Max Crosby that just got $40 million, right? So he is the highest paid non-quarterback, or excuse me, Myles Garrett, right?
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. Well, first was Max Crosby, then Myles Garrett came a day or two later, and now there's Ja'Marr Chase out there if you want to get this done. So it's going to cost you more. But Mike, my last thing on this is Joe Burrow ain't the one you want to play with. Joe Burrow is not Peyton Manning. Joe Burrow is not Tom Brady. Now, is he a pro? Absolutely. But Joe Burrow stand on business. You got to think about who he came up with and where he was at. He was in Baton Rouge. The dude was doing the gritty, and then what's the other dancer talking about? The get the gat, get the gat. They was in the White House doing get the gat, get the gat. So you don't think Joe Burrow gonna go in there and say, hey, this ain't for me, yo. Get me up out of Cincinnati. I gave y'all the opportunity. He did that in college. It wasn't working out the first school he went to. Then he said, let me go to LSU. So, Mike, I know you might have some audio challenges right there, but, you know, Hollywood, Brian, this ain't it. It's going to implode, and it's going to implode really quickly. If the Cincinnati Bengals don't get it done this year, meaning have a great season, not win the Super Bowl, all that stuff is going to blow up. You can't go into a season with your guys not happy. What do y'all think this is? What are we doing in ownership, bro? Like, you got Ja'Marr Chase not happy. You got T. Higgins not happy. And then your quarterback is paid, but he ain't happy because his guys ain't happy. Yep. So you got to deal with that every day. You think y'all got a chance to win? Oh, just shut up and come and play. Yeah, we franchise tag you. You know, you got to show up and play. And all the fans are there, oh, you still getting paid. No, this is emotional. This is personal. An athlete coming in and they don't feel comfortable, oh, it's going to show up. Yeah, it's going to show up in the huddle. It's going to show up in the film room and in the meeting rooms. It's going to show up in practice. It's going to show up. You can't afford that. You want everybody moving in the same direction. Everybody trying to accomplish the same thing. When you have an athlete that's focused and thinking about off the field, then there's a problem. And the problem, Mike, is these owners look at it as just business, and they've been doing business for years. We're talking about some of them 30, 40, 50 years. For some athletes, it's the first time sitting at a table negotiating something big. You go from being in college, especially during our era, right now you have Neil, so things have changed, but you go from making no money, negotiating nothing, to now you're negotiating multi-year, multi-million-dollar deals, right? And you expect us just to, oh, yeah, we ain't get the deal done, so we're just going to come out and play and everything's going to be great and kumbaya. No. All these athletes, 80% of them come into the league and they thinking about, yo, I got to get my mom and my sister and my brother, I got to make sure they good. Yeah. They ain't thinking about just business. They thinking about how this is changing the course of their family and everybody in it.
Yeah. B, can I ask you this, though, like before we move on? Because I know we're trying to get some things fixed, but the term, like, take the emotion out of money, right? Like, does that exist in this scenario and what you're talking about? Because you play, like you said, 13 years in the NFL, made over $100 million. It's like, did you have to negotiate or did you have to pull certain things to be like, you didn't really know how to handle that situation?
Yeah, the first couple of years as an athlete is tough for you, right? Like, if you don't come in it and you're the first generation that have money or the first generation to make it at this level, it's tough to take the emotion out of it, right? Because you have so much pressure from outside. Like, literally, like, this is not a complex thing. It's a universal story where most athletes, you know, deal with the same thing. Their mom needs this, their dads need that. Let me say it like this, and I say it all the time. We talk money on this platform, and Wale was the one that said this, former NFL player now running sports and entertainment globally at UBS Bank. He said, in our community, money flows down instead of – it flows up instead of down, meaning my money should go to my kids and my kids' kids, but now it goes to mom, dad, uncle, brother, and all the other people, right? So it takes a couple years for players to get it, and we should get it, and it's part of the process, but it's hard to ask a guy who comes from nothing to, you know, take the emotion out of money, because the emotion is why you make it to the league. That's what drives you. Remember those nights and those days, Mike, when we sitting there and you know, whether it's two-a-days or spring ball, and it's just like, yo, we dreaming about making it, not just to score a touchdown, but we're like, yo, can't wait to get mom's a crib. You remember those moments, Mike? You know how emotional that is? That ain't just ball. That ain't business. This ain't business.
I can't lie, Hollywood. If you ain't really go like top 10, either in any sport, football, basketball, and mainly, and probably baseball, I think the number one goal for an athlete is to get to a second contract, right? To get to the second contract, because that's the money that's when you never have your mom never have to work again. That's when you never really have to worry about working, period, again, right? So any athlete, if you ain't go top 10 in basketball or football, that's the number one goal, right? Not win a championship, not to be a Super Bowl champ, not to win an AFC championship. The number one goal is going to be to get to a second contract. And when you felt like you've proven yourself that you're worthy of a second contract, like Ja'Marr Chase has over and over again, it's almost disrespectful. You know what I mean? It's not even so much emotion. It's more disrespect than anything, right? Because not only have I proven I'm worth a second contract, I've actually proven I'm the best receiver in the NFL. And I've watched all these guys get paid from all other different positions. Myles Garrett just got $40 million guaranteed, bro, a year, right? Like, these guys are getting taken care of, and I keep proving myself year in and year out, and I'm still not getting what I want. And it's just disrespectful at this point.
Yeah. Brian?
All right, guys. All right, this is I Am Athlete Tonight, presented by Vivid Seats. Let's talk hoops, guys, because last night we had arguably the two best players in the NBA face off. The Joker had 35, 18, and 8 and led the Nuggets over SGA and the Thunder. However, SGA is leading the league in scoring, and he is the heavy favorite to win MVP this season. So, Nikola Jokic has won this award 3 times already. So, if you had to choose one to lead your team, are you taking SGA or are you going with the Joker?
Man, that's tough, man.
SGA
is the face of SGA is the face of the NBA, and we're not talking about it. That's why I really wanted to, I'm glad that we're talking about this tonight,
Oh, we'll get
we
to
don't talk
it,
much
yeah,
basketball.
We'll get to it.
But the answer, okay, great. Thank you for putting that in then. Thank you. Yeah. Well, the answer is the Joker. I mean, he's just different. When you have a player like that, it's like Megatron. They open it up for everyone else. The dude is he can kill you in the paint. He can kill you outside. What was the other night? Once in a lifetime game. We've never seen it before. 30, 20, and 20. Yeah. You got to go with the Joker if you want to have that longevity. Someone like SGA, man, yeah, you're gonna win some games, and you might have a great season here and there. But man, Joker, he might help you create. He's gonna help you create a dynasty. So I'm going with the Joker, Mike. I think he's that dynamic. It's like having another Shaquille O'Neal, right? Like the league didn't see that type of player before. 7 foot, 7'2", 300-something pounds, but also just physically dominating everybody. Like, we just never seen that. We never seen a big like this that can shoot, can pass, right? Got this IQ through the roof. So I'm going to go with the Joker.
I agree. There's no question about it. I watched both of the games against OKC. I think it was Sunday and Monday. And the Joker is probably I ain't gonna lie, that's probably the best player I've ever seen. Without athleticism, should I say? Let me add without athleticism. Joker to me is Magic Johnson and Shaquille O'Neal's body, right? This man here he could kill you any which way. As soon as he get the ball, he looking to pass it first. But he can drive to the hoop. He can shoot the long three ball. I've seen a big. It's probably the best big I've ever seen. Let me correct that. I've ever seen. I'll take him over Shaq.
Wow.
You take him over Shaq.
Hey, Mike. I think you should tweak that. Can I give you another opportunity to tweak that comp?
Yeah.
I love the Shaquille O'Neal part, but I feel like you missed on the Magic Johnson. And the reason why I feel like you missed on Magic Johnson is because Magic didn't shoot like this. Now, I know what you're talking about, the IQ and the passing, but Joker, his offensive game is ridiculous. So I feel like there could be a better comp.
We just never seen a big
Carmelo. Maybe a Carmelo. Is it a Carmelo?
No, because he's not not that athletic, right? Joker could barely dunk, and he's like 7'5", bro, 7'4", something. Jumping nothing, dog. He's just good. Like, I can't compare him. Like, because Magic wasn't like shifty or, you know what I mean? He wasn't super athletic like that. He just was.
Can I ask you another question, Mike?
Go ahead.
Are you racist? And the reason why I asked if you're racist is because, you had to say, well, he's the best player that I've seen that's not athletic. I mean, why can't we just put him in that conversation? That's like, yo, he's one of the best players we've ever seen, or he is the best player. Why is it hard for us to do that?
I had to correct that. He's the best big man I've ever seen. I've never seen a big dog that could do all this stuff. Like, he's unstoppable.
So you're taking him over Shaq. You're taking him over Shaq, Olajuwon.
Yes, I'm taking him over Shaq. Yes. I'm
Tim Duncan?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, bro. That man is unstoppable, bro. You cannot guard Joker.
Joker's been, like, really quietly owning the league for the last 5 years, B. I mean, like, quietly owning the league for the last 5 years. He's unreal. I'm with Mike here. But, B, I know you mentioned this because I really want to get your thoughts on this. So you mentioned SGA and how you think he could be or is the face of the NBA right now. So let's be honest. Many of the best players in the league aren't American. You got Luka, you got SGA, you got Joker, you got Giannis, right? So, like, do you think the face of the NBA needs to be American, or could it be, like you said, a Shea or somebody else? Like Giannis, I guess, was one of the faces of the league. He was never the face because it was LeBron and Steph and everything. But does the face of the league need to be American?
It ain't Brian. Let me step in right here. It ain't got nothing to do with needing to be American. Don't get beside yourself now. You named 4 players, but you got Kevin Durant, you got Jason Tatum, you got Steph Curry, you got LeBron James. Like, these, it's one out of every European or overseas player we can say that should be the face. I can name probably 3 or 4 Americans.
But they're not, though, Mike. They're not. Right now, the face of the NBA is either Joker or SGA, and I'm going with SGA. Facts. Anthony Edwards would be the face of the NBA if he took care of his kids.
Oh my goodness!
No, don't do that.
Well, I don't know the situation there, but you get caught up in the gossip and the he say she say. But I don't like that.
Mike, can I ask you something though?
I feel like nobody should be the face of the league until LeBron retires. I feel like nobody's ever going to be the face of the league.
Mike,
what up?
Mike, so you just said name Luka, you name SGA. You said for every non-American face of the league or player right now, you could probably name another American player. But you name Kevin Durant, you name Stephen Curry, you name LeBron James. They're closer to their way out of the door than these younger athletes are, like Giannis, Luka, and SGA and everything. So, I mean, even after they leave, would you still keep that same opinion?
Honestly, I just don't think we can crown nobody the face of the league until LeBron retires.
So, Mike, right now, LeBron and Steph retire right now. Who is the face of the league?
Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
No, he's not. You gotta, you can't, like, being a part of being the face of the league is, and it's unfortunate, right? Because when you say the face of a league, face of a franchise, you got to keep your face clean, right? Ja Morant was in that conversation 2 years ago, and then Ja Morant was playing with toy guns.
I think we also
that was the problem. And then also Anthony Edwards. I'm telling you the criteria right now, Mike. I'm telling you, it's not just on the court; it's off the court as well.
Exactly.
And this is coming from a guy that made mistakes off the field.
But we're being very disrespectful. We really going. If there's a criteria for being the face of the league, and it's on the court and off the court, the real face of the league right now should be Jason Tatum. I don't think nobody's at his age has.
No, that's not true.
What?
No, it's not. Listen. I'm with you. I'm a fan of Jason Tatum, and it's been a conversation for the last 4 years. Is he a superstar or is he really good? Like, what is the situation with Jason Tatum? But Jason Tatum, though, doesn't have the moxie or the flair, right? That's what he's missing. You got to have it all. That's why we want to put Anthony Edwards out there. It's like, oh my goodness, we want to give it to Anthony Edwards, and then look at the game. But then it's like, damn, Anthony Edwards, like, what's going on, bro? Get home good. Right, because you're messing up the opportunity right now. And then it's the same thing when it comes to Ja Morant. And so you got to look at the criteria. It's on the field, it's on the court, off the court, and it's also, do you have the swagger? Do you have the moxie? Do you have the flair? Because right now, you know who it is. You know who the top three. You know who the top three next ones is. Sorry, Mike. I'm gonna land it. Yeah, I'm gonna land it. Here you go. You got Luka, Joker, and SGA.
But Joker has no moxie, no flair. Joker has no moxie, no flair, no athleticism. So I don't know how he can be.
Okay, so let's add to the criteria.
Let's add to the criteria. No. You said it was a criteria, right? Joker don't meet none of those criteria.
First off, we're gonna tweak it a little bit. Let's tweak it a little bit.
Okay.
When your game is that good, let's tweak it a little bit. When your game is that good, you know what I'm saying? It balances itself out. But I would push back on you that say that Joker does have moxie. He does have flair. He's like Bill Belichick. They got it. They have the swagger because it's like, damn, he don't give us nothing. The way he answers questions, that is the moxie. That is the flair.
No, I don't agree. I think Jason Tatum should be the face of the league, honestly. If you're talking about numbers, you're talking about winning, you're talking about athleticism, you're talking about a 3-level scorer, you're talking about a dog. There's nobody outside of LeBron or Steph that we could really, really, honestly, with the win, that we could really, honestly put ahead of Jason Tatum. Anthony Edwards is good because he gives you that personality, right? He's super athletic. Same with Ja Morant. We don't really see a lot of his personality, but he's super athletic. He's known for dunking and, high-flying, small guy.
True.
But they don't really give it. Ja Morant don't give you a lot of personality. We don't see Ja Morant in interviews like we see Ant Edwards. We don't really see Ja Morant off the court. Anthony Edwards, yes, but
if
we're going to be real, if we're going to say everybody that hit all the criteria is Jason Tatum.
So let me ask you this question, Mike. How do you feel about what I said, right? Like, I'm not here to get messy, but is Anthony Edwards – Yeah, but I'm just saying though, bro. Like, and I know how we both feel about just our kids and showing up for our kids and fighting for our kids. And we don't have all the information. So let me say that. Let me preface this by saying we don't have all the information. We don't got all the details. We're not in his head. We just don't know. But is he messing up, his legacy or his bags by what's happening off the court with him? And really what it is just kids and women, right? Like, is he messing it up?
No, I don't think so. No, John Morant just got suspended, almost a whole year last year for splashing the gun 2 times. All right, he's came back from that. You know what I mean? I think this just anything that hit the media lasts about a good week or two and it goes away. That's just the power of social media. But no, absolutely not. He just played with Team USA. He just went to the Western Conference Finals last year against Luka and lost. Right? Definitely not. I think he's still on track to be the face of the league for sure. But honestly, nobody could be that until LeBron retire.
Well, we'll see. I disagree with you on that, but I'm not here to debate you tonight. I Am Athlete Tonight presented by Vivid Seats. It matters. Yeah, we may not be talking about it, on social media anymore, but the brands and the leagues and the teams, they remember, right? And they hold on to it. They second chances, yeah, okay. We'll see what happens, man. I'm rooting for Anthony Edwards. Big fan.
Love it.
Sure.
Well, guys, before we land this plane here, Drake is back in the media just to get some culture talk in here. So I think there's so many parts to this story. Drake made an Instagram post the other day with the caption reading, I grew up non-confrontational and always treated this game as a sport where my pen won gold. But these days, the podium has been hard for all of us to ignore. He also added, I understand that this next chapter may leave you feeling uneasy, but I hope you see my honesty as clarity, not charity. And I hope he hopes that answers a lot of the questions and stuff too. So, with this, every response that he's had thus far, including the album that he did with Party Next Door, has been nothing but a response to the beef and everything that Kendrick Lamar has been in. That's what everyone has been saying, right? But the biggest thing that came up for me, considering you, Mike Sims-Walker, Brandon, you two as NFL players here, the thing that stood out was the beginning of this. I grew up non-confrontational and always treated this game as a sport where my pen won, right? So for you guys, was there ever a time in the NFL when a GM, coach, or player gave you a hard time, possibly dissed you, made you feel some kind of way, and instead of reacting, you let your work or business mindset handle the problem?
Mike, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll take off. I feel like in football, almost any football team you play on, you're gonna have one of those coaches that's gonna be disrespectful. Mm-hmm. He's gonna be loud. He's gonna yell at you. He's gonna curse you out, and you try to stay away from them type of coaches, right? He's gonna try to embarrass you, and a lot of time it's not to the main, like the star players or the good players. He try to do it to the guys, kind of like the walk-ons or something. And yeah, I've ran into those coaches, and it depends on what level you at. Sometimes you got to eat it, right? Sometimes you got to, bite your tongue. I tell my nephew when he was in college, hey man, sometimes you got to bite your tongue, or you're gonna have to kiss some butt, right? So you got, it's just part of it's messed up because you hate to see it. I try to stay away from them type of coaches. I think they're no good for a football team or a basketball team or any team. But I'm sure we all run into it. For me, I try not to say nothing, but if it get disrespectful, then I'm a man first, right? Like, that's one thing we gonna do is respect each other first. I actually ran into that. I was coaching at UCF one year. Real quick story. And if coaching college football, it's a lot of time. And for me, it seemed like it was a lot of wasted time. But so I was getting my work done early, and I was just sitting on the clock waiting until all the coaches leave. I walk in, everybody was done, practice script turned in, all the plays are read up for the players, meeting rooms are set. So I left. I come back in the morning, and one of the coaches, I'm not going to say a name, he comes in and calls me in his office, and he gets loud and try to curse me out. Mind you, I'm a grown man at the time. And I see him do the GAs like that and some of the QCs, but it just never was. It was never, pointed towards me. But at that moment, I don't know what made him do it. But I don't know if he had a bad morning, but I guess he was just in his feelings, and he decided to.
And you, Mike Sims Walker, one of the faces of the program, all-time faces of the program.
Yes, for sure. He started to get loud and started to curse, and I had to nip it in the bud immediately. Hey, man, I'm a man first. All right, we ain't doing no disrespect. You know what I mean? We can't even have a conversation if it ain't gonna be respectful. So you might want to try this again, or you ain't got to never address me no more.
Mike, what was his name?
You gonna get messy?
Hey, Mike, that's crazy.
I said,
he almost said it.
He almost said it.
I said. His name was Chuck Bresnahan. He was our defensive coordinator in 2015. Yes.
Ooh, Mike got messy. Mike got messy. He's ready to say, get it off your chest, Mike.
I just had to.
And you responded that way.
When you
responded that way, how did he react to it?
The whole coaching staff heard me. It wasn't no close the door. It wasn't no quiet. I made sure the whole hallway heard me. You know what I mean? Because I ain't want only not he can get away with it. Nobody ain't finna get away with it. Like, you just not finna talk to me a certain type of way. I can't. That's like a trigger for me. I can't do that.
And what did Coach Chuck do in that moment?
I ain't never had that problem again. Let's just say that.
For me, I would say Josh McDaniels. I think Mike hit it on the head, man. Every team, every organization has that challenge, right? Like, every player in any team, any organization, going to have that, right? Yep. For the most part, a guy that's always, out there doing too much, right? Challenging you. And so for me, Josh McDaniels and the Denver Broncos stood out to me. And when he came in, he made this statement. First off, we were the number one offense throughout the entire year. This was 2010. So we're the number one offense in the league. Young guys, too. Me, Jay Cutler, Eddie Royal, Ryan Clady, a few other dudes out there, Chris Cooper, and we was rolling. Now, last game of the season, we ended up losing the number one title to Drew Brees, and Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So I'll give it to them. So, but we're feeling ourselves, right? Coach McDaniels comes in. He puts his first meeting, all he wanted to do is knock us down. He put up all of our bad plays. We're like, yo, what you doing? Now, Jay Cutler wasn't there because before he got there, he tried to trade Jay Cutler for Matt Cassell, the backup quarterback in New England that filled in for Tom Brady that year and ended up winning like 10 games. So he felt like Matt Cassell was the guy. Never panned out after that. So he comes and he does that. And then we also had a Ja'Marr Chase and Cincinnati Bengals moment, right? Like, I was up for a new contract. And so we sat down and we talked, and he said, hey, Brandon, I don't think we're going to give you a deal because, I haven't seen you play yet. I just got here. And I'm like, you haven't seen me play yet? Like, I'm established as a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. And I said this to him, I said, everyone see me play. Like, what are we talking about? He said, I just got here. I want to see it. I was like, all right, whatever. And so we went through this whole thing all off season, and it was bad. I'm not going to bore you guys with all the details. But, long story short, we get to preseason, and I'm holding in pretty much the whole off season. And then he called me. He said, hey, we're going to give you that deal, and we're going to make you the richest Bronco ever. We're going to pay you more than we ever paid John Elway, right? But to get that contract, you need to score 4 rushing touchdowns, or we want your yards per catch to go up, which is things that they can control, right? And I'm not a down-the-field wide receiver. And so anyways, that happens, and then we go back and forth, and then training camp we got to do this conditioning test, and I go out there, and I'm really not in shape, but I wanted to prove to them that I'm a beast. I was a beast, and, no one was going to take my spot. And so I came out there and we did 300s. And, man, I did all of them. I came in first, and I just walked straight into the locker room. Then I just fell out. Like, well, I was dead. I was like, they not going to see me not win all 3 of these, and they don't know I'm in pain, but I'm going to win these. And so that was a moment for me, man, where I was battling the organization. I was battling my head coach for a little bit of respect. I did not get the deal that year. Fast forward a year later, end up making my second or third Pro Bowl, going for my third year in a row, over 100 catches, 1,000 yards, and a couple TDs, and end up signing a big deal, major deal with the Miami Dolphins.
Love it.
Real quick, Brandon, real quick.
Was that the question that you asked Stephen yesterday? Mike,
real quick, Brandon. I don't know if you remember this. Real quick, I remember I got to St. Louis in 2011, right? And our offensive coordinator was Josh McDaniels, and I was about 3-4 training camp practices in, and I called you. I was like, "Bro, I see why you was planting balls in practice."
I remember that, bro. Dude, wow.
He got little man syndrome, boy. Oh my gosh, dog. Every morning.
And you was the number one receiver, right? They just signed you in free agency to a big deal, and he was treating you like that.
Bruh, every morning, and the first thing we do is meet, and they pull up all the bad plays from the day before. Every morning. Yeah, it was bad.
Unbelievable. It's how he did it.
Well, that is it for I'm Athlete Daily. Brandon, Mike, y'all got any last remarks?
Face of the NBA, Mike. SGA.
Jason Tatum.
We're going foreign.
What if Boston win another championship?
Foreign, right?
What if Boston win another championship this year? Do we consider do Jason Tatum then get the face of the league?
He don't got the flair. He don't have the moxie. You got to have it all, Mike. You can't lower the criteria for a guy just because he won the championship. You got to be able to do it all, Mike.
Bro, Joker races horses for a living, bro. What are you talking about, flair and moxie?
Hey, Christy O, Pamela, we appreciate you guys and everybody else in the chat for rocking with us. This is I Am Athlete Tonight, presented by Vivid Seats. Make sure you download the app, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
I'm here so I won't get fined. We talking about practice.
Come see me. I'm about that.